Good morning, students. Today we have to see 10th standard 5th unit supplementary reader A Day in 2889 of an American Journalist. It was written by Jules Verne. About the author. His life begins with 1828 and his life ends with 1905. He was a French poet, playwright, and novelist, but he earns his place on this list of great writers because of his futurist adventure novels. He has been called the father of science fiction and has had an incalculable influence on the development of science fiction writing. More interesting, perhaps, is his place as a prophet or predictor of technology, which wasn't to be invented until long after his death. He put a man on the moon, including its launch from a Florida launch pad to its splashdown in the Pacific. In 1863, he predicted the Internet, Paris in the 20th century. 1863 depicts the details of modern life: skyscrapers, television, maglev trains, computers, and a culture preoccupied with the Internet. This story speaks about the people of the 29th century who live in fairyland. Surfeited as they are with marvels, they are indifferent to the presence of each new marvel. To them, all seem natural. Science fictions trigger our fantasy about the inevitable happenings of the future. They provide us wings of fire to glide over the present and visualize the future with the aid of technology. They lay the foundation for scientific developments in future. A Day in 2889 of an American Journalist is a science fiction which predicts life after several hundreds of years. The story revolves around the emotional indifferences exhibited by humans to the astonishing marvels around them. Let us see the lesson. The year is 2889 and the date is 25th July. The story takes place in the office block of the managing editor of the Earth Herald, the world's largest newspaper. In this story, written in 1889, the writer describes how he visualizes the world 1,000 years later. It is a world of technological advancements. Here, newspapers are not printed but spoken. Francis Bennett awoke in a bad temper, as it was 8 days since his wife had been in France. He was feeling lonely. He saw his wife appear in the telephotic mirror. Telephotic mirror means transmitting and receiving both voice and picture for a personal conversation. He quickly jumped off his bed, went into the mechanized dressing room. Without any attendant, the mason performed all the tasks of getting him ready to his office. Francis went to the reporter's room. His 1500 reporters were passing on to the subscribers the news which had come in during the night from the four quarters of the earth. Francis went to the service room of the astronomical reporters and inquired about its proceedings. One of the Earth heralds, astronomers had just determined the elements of the new planet Gandhini. Advertisements of gigantic size were flashed on clouds. An unbelievable feat indeed. Francis has launched with his wife over the phono telephone, and food is served through a network of pneumatic tubes. Francis travels and communicates across the globe in a jiffy, and it seems quite natural to him. He encourages inventors and petitioners who come with innovative schemes for better living conditions. Francis then went to his accumulator works at Niagara in his aerocar. After visiting that, he returned to Centropolis about 5 o'clock. Centropolis means the new name of New York in 2889. After waiting in the room of the Earth Herald, there were different proposals given by the crowd. Out of these, two young men's proposals were brilliant. He assigned them work and went to have his meal. He gets the news from his wife that she is coming to Centropolis by tube, which travels from Paris in 295 minutes. He touches a button to take a bath and goes in. Besides imagining the video link well before its time, the story contains extremely far sighted remarks on the power of the media, modern transport, space travel, the increase of life expectancy, and many things which are becoming a reality now. When science and humanity go hand in hand, there is no limit for their achievement. Science can be a boon or ban, depending upon its user. Make maximum use of science to bring about human welfare and not warfare. The moral of this lesson is change is the law of life, or any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. Students, if you have any doubt, we have to discuss later. Now, thank you.